Bye, Needle Mesa.
If you want to program, there's hundreds and hundreds to choose from. If you want to be coached, really coached, then you need Sentinel. TrainSentinel.com. There's no better option.
There is no better option. Welcome. Somehow we're still late. Fuck me. I also said I wasn't going to swear. Bollocks. Twice. Great. I'm amazing. Did you watch NorCal Classic?
Okay, can we just
you watched
quick
it back? What?
because I feel bad we haven't talked about this. Just quick, because we have covered a lot of semifinals, but we actually haven't really covered Torian.
Okay.
And I really just want to say that it looked amazing. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, that it was like games level. And what Mikey and Jono does over there, it's very impressive.
What did Anne think of it? She got a cramp or something in her calves, was it?
Yeah, she got on the second event, what was actually supposed to be her best event. Her body totally cramped up, like full on. She never experienced something like that. And yeah, it was interesting because I think what Gracie had something similar. I saw Gracie lying on the floor with like paramedic.
Oh,
and then
Bailey Martin had a heart attack.
Yeah, I haven't watched. I want to watch the video what he was saying about, but I had no time. I'm a busy man, so I wasn't sure for it.
Everybody is asking, are you wearing trousers or like pants?
Little panties. But it's fucking hot now here in Spain.
Monday will play. She's in Bali or somewhere. Is it, or Indonesia?
Yeah, she's doing some holidays.
She just cannot wait to get home. I was like, how can I extend this trip?
No, it's more like I told her go for some holidays.
Yeah. Decompress after Torian and then come home when you've forgotten about it. Okay. Did you watch Hiller's video?
Some of it, yeah.
Oh my God, you're fucking useless. Did you watch any of the events back?
Some of it.
I sent you a list of stuff to watch. God.
Yeah, I thought we can watch it together.
You want to sit down now and watch a whole fucking event?
Not the whole event, but the thing what you wanted to show me.
I'm gonna read you out a list, right?
Yeah.
And you tell me if this is right or proper for a games qualifier event. And I'm going to preface by saying I really enjoyed NorCal Classic. I thought it was great. Like, I thought the events were really entertaining. I thought the stream, like the post stream, was really entertaining. I thought the workouts were nuts. I thought having 25 people in a field in a heat was insane. I thought it was just crazy. It was just such a clusterfuck of absolute mess at different times, but it was so fucking entertaining. Like, off-season event, peak CrossFit. Like, for just a random event in like, I don't know.
I have a question.
August or October. Fucking amazing. There was so much shit to look at, so much shit to talk about. There was so much shit that you were like pulling your hair out. You're like, what is happening? Why is this happening? Why does that look like that? Why does he have that and he doesn't have that? Why are those there? There was so many different questions. As a games qualifier event, absolute fucking shambles. Like, total fucking joke town that it was even there. But as an off season, that is hands down has to be the most entertaining CrossFit event in the whole calendar once it doesn't have an impact on the actual season. So I just want to preface everything else I say with that.
And also like 30K prize money, you know? It's not just like
I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about the prize money. If they can find 30 grand and give away 30 grand, I'll have at it. Like, I don't care.
I mean from the athlete's perspective, you know what I mean? So the guy who on Sunday, because of changing the weights or the wrong weights, he just did not lost the game spot. He also lost probably 30K, right?
Oh yeah, I get you. Yeah, I get you. But still, I mean, to be honest, I think if you're going to NorCal, if it's like fucking August or September and you're going to NorCal and there's $30,000 on the table, but you know it's NorCal. Whatever, I don't care. I don't want to listen to you complain afterwards. Like, you went to NorCal knowing that it was NorCal. So if you lost because of some stupid thing that happened in the second event and you came second and lost like 30,000, I don't care. It's NorCal. But the fact that it's a games qualifier makes it like, oh, come on. Like, you can't. I'll show you a picture first, right? So they did a shuttle run and it was from, this is fucking insane. It was from the rig. You had to run down and run back. You run down forwards and run back or whatever. These are the cones, right? For a qualifier event for the CrossFit Games, these are the cones for the shuttle run. So,
yeah.
I don't know if you
but
can.
like I said,
hang on,
so
wait.
I get the point.
This cone, and this cone are not even fucking parallel to each other. They go all the way up. All like, that is fucking crazy. You could see, was it Ralph? Ralph, Ali Scudd's boyfriend, fiance. He put up a video and he was like, what am I missing? Like, I'm missing something on this, because you can see if my square was the picture, some cones are like here and then it's just like goes all the way down. So the left-hand side of the lane, the left-hand side of the field, we're running each fucking length, we're running like 10 meters less. Like, they were running down and turning back, and the other side were going way longer. Like, just fucking nuts. They had these gators, the big like golf carts, basically, that you loaded sandbags on and then you push them. And then halfway through, they realized that, like, oh, hang on, the left lane is a lot. I can't remember. One of the lanes is faster than the other. And they were like, that's weird. And then they realized that it kept happening. They're like, like, we've obviously fucked something up. I was telling my sister-in-law this, right? Who has no, like, she watches a bit of sport, but she has no concept of organizational or any of that kind of shit, right? The first question she asked when I told her, they steered it by having 2 8-year-olds sitting in the cart and steering it. My wife's first question was, why the fuck did they pick 8-year-olds? And then my sister-in-law's question was, did they weigh the 8-year-olds? So the first question she asked, they never fucking thought of. They never thought of, like, hey, maybe one of the 8-year-olds is heavier than the other one. They never thought of, like, maybe we should check that the weights of the carts are the same, that there's the same amount of gasoline in both of them, that the tires are the same level of PSI or whatever, that there's the same thread. They just said, like, there's one cart, there's another cart. Cool, line them up. And that was it. That was all the thought to put into it. Anyway, I'm going to read you this list, because the list
but just quick, what I want to say is that I see that it's entertainment, but from an athlete point, it's bad, because
well, you're going there. Like, if
no,
like,
but
if
it's
you
not
sign
fair.
up,
But
if you sign up for NorCal next year, it is fair, because it's a level playing field for everyone. If you sign up for NorCal next year,
well, not if my line is
year,
10 meters shorter than yours.
Yeah, but if you
fair on that,
I mean, the overall concept. If you sign up for NorCal next year, right, and you say, hey, there's $30,000, I'm going to go to California, I'm going to win that thing, and you have watched this year, and you go thinking that everything's going to be perfect and something isn't going to go wrong and that you won't have to adapt on the fly, or that you might be shortchanged or whatever, and you don't think any of that stuff's going to happen, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, but still, like, it should not happen. Like, that's my point. It should not happen.
It shouldn't.
Like,
but it definitely shouldn't. Within the games, should it happen within the game season, it definitely shouldn't. Within the whole ecosystem, I'm fine with it happening once everyone is aware of, like, the list like and all the other stuff.
I would getting fucking mad if I go there as an athlete and missing 30K because I had to run 10 meters more than the other guy.
Yeah.
Like, imagine you go to a soccer game. It doesn't matter what league or what kind of soccer game, but one of the goals is half as big as the other one. Like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? Like, it's not that I can see when, okay, it's a bit messy and a bit different, but if you're not even able to make a floor plan or a floor the same standard for everyone, like make a straight fucking line, then sorry, maybe you should not fucking run events. Maybe you should just do something else.
I want to see how angry you get with this list. Right. They had ring muscle ups. Some of the rings were Some of the rings were different thicknesses, like different diameters from other ones in different lanes. That's one. Second, some of them had the felt like eyelets, and some of them had the metal like clips, you know, on the connecting it to the rig, like the rings.
Yeah.
So that's another difference. The shuttle run distance, we've covered that. For the rig, they had two lanes, like different lanes were sharing like risers, like sharing plyo boxes as a riser to get up to the bar. And other people just had their coaches like
No way.
like what dirty dance them up, you know, like lift them up. So they had no risers in some lanes. There was plates on the floor that weren't being used, like as in they weren't even required for the workout at all. Like no requirement for them to be out there. One of the most confusing things I saw, they had this row run workout, and the athletes started at a start line in like a mass start, but the row was first. So they started at the start line and then ran to their specific rower that they had. So it wasn't like first come, first serve. You ran to lane 6 or whatever. Inexplicably, holding your scorecard, which you then gave to the judge who was standing at your rower, and then you started rowing. And then so they all had the same start time. It was like 3, 2, 1, go. The timer has now started, but there was no visible timer fucking anywhere, because on any competition floor at any time, there was no timer up anywhere for anyone to see. So Heavy Isabel, Colton, instead of looking at the clock going, I'm going to go every 3 seconds, he's counting in his fucking head because he can't see a clock anywhere. Anyway, they hand the scorecard to the rower and start pulling. And then instead of just saying like, all right, guys, you're going to start on your fucking rower, and we'll do 3, 2, 1, go when you're sitting on your rower, instead of this asinine fucking mass start 10 meters from the rowers that just made no sense, like 0 sense at all. There was no clock like anywhere visible. There was last second workout changes. So this is kind of hearsay, but I heard that the girls were going out for their last bar, the last workout, and they were told what the last bar was. And then on the board, it said a different number. And then someone said, well, hang on, that's different than the score. Everything's different there. And they said, yeah, we'll just change it. So they just changed the weight in the last workout. They had a diagram on the board for the men's bar of the colors and then the number. And I think the number said 325, and it was like 2 blues, 2 reds, 2 greens, 2 blues, like 2 small blues or something. I can't remember. And it said 325. And then they went out and they were told it was 315. And they went out and did the workout. And that Ilya guy, the Ukrainian guy, was cleaning his last bar, had his bar loaded to go. One of the event organizers came out and said, no, and changed the weight to 325 instead of 315. The Ilya guy was like, all right, cleaned it anyway, like a fucking boss, crossed the finish line. Then in the next heat, Nate Ackerman comes out. Everybody has seen what just happened. Him running onto the floor, like Blair or Ben, freaking out, running onto the floor, change the plates. The owner of the fucking event. So if anyone knows, that guy knows. He goes out, changes the plates. Nate comes out in the next one. He's loading his bar, pauses confused, looks at the judge and says, is this right? And the judge says, yeah, it blues. And then he turns to Taylor, who's holding a camera, but is an accomplished athlete, coach, everything else, and looks at him and goes, what am I doing here? And Taylor goes, whites. Because he has just seen the fucking event director in the same fucking lane come out and change the plates to the white plates from the blue plates. So he starts putting on the whites. Saxon Panchak comes up to his bar. He's fit, like ready before him. The head judge, I think, comes over and says, no, it's the blues. Change them back. Saxon cleans the bar across the finish line. Nate cleans the bar across the finish line. Nate's like, fuck's sake. Well, he didn't swear because he's Nate, but he's like, oh, gosh darn it. And he goes across. Everybody's attacking Taylor, saying, oh, you fucking retard. Why did you tell him the plates? Whatever. How is it his fault? How is an athlete on the floor put into a position at a qualifying event to need to double check and triple check with multiple people what is the weight for this bar, because the event organizer came out in the heat before that and changed the fucking plates? And then the worst part of all of this for me is that Taylor came out and said, yeah, look, I fucked up. I should have said nothing. I should have shrugged. I should have said, I don't know. There's a lot of things I should have said. but I didn't because I thought I was helping him because what I had just seen. And Ben and Blair, the two event organizers, just did that Homer Simpson into the bushes thing and just like hid. Instead of coming out and saying, actually, it's our fault. We didn't brief it properly. We had confusing literature and fucking numbers written up all over the place. We confused things further by running out and changing the plates, and we were wrong to do that. Both to do it because we shouldn't have interfered with his bar because nobody else got interfered with, and we actually picked the wrong weights when we went out and did it. But instead of taking any responsibility, they just let Taylor walk out in front with his hands up, and they were just like, yeah, cool. It's Taylor's fault. Yeah, we're good with that. Everything's Taylor's fault. And the fact that he took personal responsibility for it, like a man, covered up all the other shit that they did at NorCal. And that's what everybody is talking about. And nobody's talking about the fact that Rebecca Fuselier dropped down from the rope and there was fucking slack on the ground, like Scott Panchek 4 years ago, as if we haven't learned from that. And she fucking sprained her ankle because they left slack on the rope. That's the next on the list. There was barely any chalk. There was barely any chalk on the floor. The gators were different. So the trucks or the gators, whatever, were different ages, had different tire pressure, different tire tread. They had different levels of gas. And the 8-year-olds, I need to finish this list because I'm really pissed off about it. They had different weights.
Then we have to go back. So
we will go back. They had different terrain on the push gators. So the one was smooth, one was rough, like the ground. The drivers were different weight. There was a different number of athletes per lane on different things. Uneven ground for the pirouettes. So the mats were just like on grass. And people were doing pirouettes on their hands on fucking grass. Athletes were running into each other. There was incorrect info being briefed throughout the whole fucking weekend. They didn't know. Someone actually asked, listen to this for a bit of foreshadowing, right? Somebody asked about the weight of the last bar at the first brief. Somebody asked that question and the response was, I don't actually know. Think of that as foreshadowing for what was going to come, 3 days later, 3.5 days later. The run course was poorly marked out. They had to abandon the run course for the teenagers because they ran wrong. It wasn't clear enough what they did. They didn't walk the run course before the run. So they didn't walk it and check is this the right distance? Is it good? Is it what? They didn't bother doing that. The rope slack on the floor, yeah, and then the plates. And that confusion with Nate and everything was added to with the fact that there was just fucking plates everywhere. Ones that weren't needed, ones from the last workout. Oh, there was 25 women athletes per heat, right? Guess how many shorty bars they had for the women to warm up with? 1. Fucking crazy. Crazy. It's honestly, I don't even think that's a complete list. I don't even think that's the whole list. It's fucking nuts. It's nuts. What did you want to
just
go back
quick,
to?
my stand on the Nate Ackerman. I honestly would blame himself because
he should.
Because he asked his judge and the judge says yes. And then it doesn't matter. Let's say he would have cleaned it and the judge would have said afterwards, oh no, actually it was not right. Then he cannot blame him because it was the judge. But I cannot listen on anyone just from a field or even on my competitor or a fan or someone else. If the judge says yes, it's the same as a rep and no rep. If I can do reps and if someone from the venue or from the stand screams in and says this was a no rep and the judge says it's a rep, it's still a rep. You know what I mean? So I think, he's maybe not the most experienced, but he should definitely in future just listen to his judge and that's all what counts and nothing else.
I will say he did take, Nate himself did say, I messed, I'm annoyed with myself.
Yeah.
He took, I'm not saying he blamed Taylor. I'm just saying everybody watching, there was so many comments of people saying, oh, classic Taylor self, crowbarring himself in, or this fucking loudmouth, or media should never be heard. And that's why Taylor shouldn't be out there in the first place. And it's yeah, but he's not it's not his fault. I don't blame him for, he shouldn't, it was retarded that he answered. He shouldn't have answered, but Nate shouldn't have asked. And Nate shouldn't have been left in a position where he needed to ask because there's been so much confusion about something that's really fucking simple to get right. Imagine if we were talking about Syndicate and we said, hey, we're going to do the yoke repeater workout with the 400 meter run and the rope, the yoke. And the yokes were just randomly staggered. People would lose their fucking minds. Or if it was all right, we're going to do the hundreds workout And one of the lanes is going to use a soft box. One of them is going to use a hard box, and one of them is going to have a narrow box. One of them is going to have a wide box, and we're going to
again,
do
like, this is for me the most important thing. It doesn't matter what level competition or what programming or the venue, but rule number one, it needs to be fair and be the same for everyone.
Yeah.
Very, very simple. Like I said, it cannot be that you have different equipment. It cannot be that you have different heights or standards or length. That's just, like I said, I don't care. Let them do 1,000 shuttle runs. It's fine. Whatever the program is, it's for everyone the same. But then make sure the fucking line is fucking the same length for everyone. Like,
The
that's
thing
like
is,
same with the rings. Okay, you want to do 100 ring muscle ups? I don't care. But you cannot have different straps or different rings. Everyone needs the same length, and everyone needs the same rings. And if this is not your rule number one as a organizer of a competition, then you're already like, yeah, put yourself to fail in, you know. And
I
like you
think as
said, you
well,
need to make it for an athlete as easy as possible. It cannot, like I said, it's an athlete is under pressure, thinks of different things. If there is not a running event where you cannot go another way, like if you do a run event with a running circle or something, you should make sure that there is not even a possibility or even a thought of a second that you could go a different way than this way. This is very, very simple. Because in this moment, athletes are very stupid. And actually, we had a fun time that happened once at the Swiss Alpine Battle, where me and Sam were competing, and there was 2 other teams. We were quite far in front, and at some point we saw like literally the whole pack behind us. So like that was probably like 20, 30 teams of 2, so like 40, 50 people running the wrong way. And I shocked first because I thought, oh shit, we are wrong and we're losing now the event and we're gonna place last. And then we realized no, they were wrong. It was funny, but yeah.
Here, I got this live photo of this is Brent Fikowski, the PFA, watching NorCal Classic with all the stuff that went wrong. It's just like a PFA dream where it's like, oh my God, there's so much stuff to talk about. No, I think, I don't know. I think, like I said, as an off-season event, where if they are finding the $30,000 and if they're finding the sponsors and if they're
But
finding
how?
they're
Okay, tell me
funding the
how they find this
broadcast,
money.
they have like fucking Yeti and all these other companies. Like they have big companies in there.
Yeah, but it's still like.
I'm just telling you, they have big brand partners. I think US Border Patrol were there, Yeti. I can't remember who else. Obviously not Rogue, I'm guessing, because they didn't have enough stuff. But if you're having an all-season event, like if me and you put on your fucking, what do you call it, combine, you know, your decathlon of fitness or whatever, if we put that on and we found $50,000 as a prize money, and we said, hey, we're doing it our way, this is the way it's going to work, and people turned up and there was like, I don't think we would do this. Like, you wouldn't be okay with it being done like this. But just say we said, all right, we're doing it, blah, blah, blah. And there was some stuff that was wrong. And then we did it again the next year. And we said, it's going to be exactly like last year, just different workouts. And if the same people turned up and were pissed off that it wasn't fair, or that it wasn't like, well, why did he run an extra 10 meters than me? And why did whatever? I'd be like, hey, you're fucking dumb. If you thought that, like we said, it's going to be the exact same as last year. And I think that's what NorCal's thing is like, it's bootleg, it's grassroots, it's like old school. It's like 2008, 2009 CrossFit competition. It's like, that's what, like the vendor village was amazing. The crowd was huge. Everybody that was there said it was the best event that they were at like all season. And I believe it. The vibe looked incredible. The whole atmosphere looked amazing. The vendor village looked incredible. Like there was so much drama, but you can't have that event lead to people punch their tickets to the CrossFit Games. Like you just can't, because that event is as damaging as it brings up as big an argument as people saying, is James Brigg the fittest on earth or not the fittest on earth? Because Lazar died and they changed some of the workouts and some people dropped out. It's the same level of fuck up.
No, I don't think so, because if you change a workout, it's for everyone the same. But if you have different lines, it's not for everyone the same.
I know, but this doesn't directly impact who wins the games, if you know what I mean. I mean, it's not like the last domino, but it will impact like the overall picture, because there's, you know, Alex went, Kristen Holte, like, whoa, would she have gone? Maybe. Sorry, like probably not, because of the last bar. But would Nate have gone? Would that have changed the way that things happen at the games? Would Jorge still have gone? Would that have changed things that happen at the games? I think the same people that said James Brigg isn't the fittest on earth because Lazar died and because they took the workouts out, etc. I think that's the same. They should really end up with the same argument this year of saying like, well, are they the fittest on earth? Because NorCal was such a shit show. I think it's the same level of like head scratcher. You know, it's the same level that a similar amount of people should be pissed off.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, like I said, I really don't care about the venue, about everything else. I just care when it's not fair.
Yeah.
That makes me fucking mad. Like I said, even if they change the workout 5 minutes before the heat, okay, it's fine as long as it's for every heat the same.
Bonnie's asking, did Mayhem look over the programming? Yeah, they did. And to be honest, I don't really have an issue with the programming. It was weird. Like there was some weird stuff in there. The reverse lunge wall balls were weird. The running backwards is weird. But like everybody's going to have to do the same thing, and it's a test of your adaptability, your physical prowess. The physical skills are still being tested. You know what I mean? Like with the programming, it's being tested in an odd way, you could argue, but it's still being tested. I don't think them going to Mayhem and saying, hey, Rich, what would you think of reverse lunge wall balls? And him saying, oh, yeah, they're actually kind of nice. They're different stimulus than I thought they'd be. I don't think that gives Mayhem any blame for NorCal then going back down to fucking California and putting their cones like that on the field. Or, you know, I don't think the programming and the execution are two different arguments. I think the programming was like maybe unusual,
totally,
but the execution was fucked.
Totally. Like I said, I had no problem. Like I said, at the end, the programming, that's what I said in the beginning. The programming is what it is, what it is. I actually like that they announced the workouts the day before the competition. I really think that's something we should go back to, what we had much more in the days. I think we're just missing the point of being prepared for the unprepared or for the unknowable. If we announce 2 weeks before every competition nowadays, or even 3 weeks sometimes, the workouts, that has nothing to do anymore with being prepared. I think you need to that it's a skill that you cannot practice. Like there is so many, because if we would start announcing the workouts again before the day or 2 days before the competition, you would see so much more fuck ups. You would see so many more different strategies. And what would be the result of this? Much more entertaining. But now, because you let athletes test every event multiple times over 2-3 weeks, of course, it takes the risk of fuck ups. Like, it's not a surprise anymore. But if you put out events with like sprint events or even in general events, let's say even like the 2K run and the 2K row, if you don't know your paces, you're like, oh, let's see how it feels. Where if I can practice this event, I know exactly, okay, I'm going to row at 140 and I'm going to run at like 3:45 minutes per kilometer pace, and this is it. It's no interesting anymore. You don't see fuck ups anymore.
You want the guy who bites off more than he can chew and falls apart. You want the girl that, you know, takes a risk and like finishes, you know, does something crazy that wouldn't have happened had they practiced 40 times and had their exact fucking thing they were going to do. Froning helped write the workouts. Yeah, they went to Mayhem. Hiller was there documenting it. There's a video on his channel. It was like Froning, Angelo, maybe Jake. And they were going through the workouts, kind of piecing them together, tweaking some stuff, whatever. But again, I don't think that equates to the execution of all right, let's do some handstand pirouettes are good. Yeah, that's cool. And then it's like, hey, put them on uneven ground, like put them on grass. You know, I don't think that level of input with it. This is probably the best comment. Life is weird and ain't a perfect world. Enjoy and move on to the next thing. All right, well, fuck it. Right, thanks, Adrian. Thanks for coming. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Show's over because we're not allowed to talk about things that have happened that might impact the future of the sport. So we're moving on. End of show. Like, what kind of a fucking statement is that? Don't talk about anything that happened in the past. It's just done. Forget it. Let's see. Doesn't the later heat have an advantage then? Well, no. If you announce the workout at 6 p.m., like they do at the games, you announce the workout at like, okay, not this year with that fucking 6-month lead up to event 1, but if you announce the workout 8 hours before it's on, or 16 hours before it's on, and then you say, here's the equipment, have a little play with it if you want. All right, fuck off back to your hotels. That's different than saying 2 weeks in advance, hey, here's the workouts. 3 weeks in advance, here's the workouts. If you just give them one night to think about it, or an event to think about it, I don't think any heat is given an advantage over the rest of the heats. Like, I think it's just like, all right.
But even like I said, why you're in the last heat? Because you earned it. Like you're the best, like you're in the top 10 or whatever. So that has always been the fact
Yeah,
that,
you get to watch.
okay, we can watch the first one, but like again, it's just because I'm watching someone, I might see one or two things, but I cannot see like, okay, now I'm doing it much, much better. Like
this. No, dude, you're weird. Jeez. I don't have the energy to dumb it down, so I am out. To dumb down what? You can't make that comment any stupider than it already was. Life is weird and ain't a perfect world. Enjoy and move on to the next thing. So nobody's allowed to ever think about anything that happened, or talk about it, or dissect anything.
And he must have no fucking balls when he
really fucking
grabs
weird.
him.
Also, the vinyl stickers on the pirouettes mats. Sorry. The vinyl stickers on the pirouette mats, slippery as fuck. And because they were different, oh, fuck me. Because there were different numbers on each space, the mat wasn't, yeah, okay. So if you have the number 20 versus the number 1, you're at a disadvantage because there's two like there's a larger slippy surface area than if just one strip down the middle. Fuck me. They're just like, honestly, I think they tested the workouts at Mayhem and were like, yeah, these are cool. And then they went back down and they were like, right, how do we set up these workouts? Instead of testing the workouts in a fucking field outside Rich's house, saying this is similar to where we'll be, let's test them here. Or, you know, like some simulation of what they were going to do. They just said, all right, we've tested the workouts within the confines of the Mayhem gym. We're happy with those workouts. Cool. Let's go back down to California. Fuck it, we'll figure it out in the day. Who cares? Like, they were like, we'll test the workouts. It's good.
I don't think that like Rich and the guys expected. They thought probably like, okay, we test the workouts. We don't have to tell you guys how to set it up and make it
like
standard,
just do it like this and you go back down. Cool, will do.
Like it's like if you ask me, if you make a competition and you send me a workout over and you think, hey, it's a good test, and say like, yeah, it looks very equal. Like there's the same amount of body weight and weights. I'm not going to tell you as a first thing. It's like, yeah, make sure that you have straight lines, right? Like that should be pretty clear, right?
Yeah. I mean, maybe they should have known to suggest that. Like I like Ben and Blair seemed cool. They were like, Savannah loved working with them. I wasn't there, but the guys love working with them. They said it was great. Like there was internet issues and stuff, and I think that's, you know, unfortunate. It's just where it is. It was down in like a valley, basically. Like the trees were at road height, if you know what I mean. Like the top of the trees in the park they were in was the same height as the road above. So you can imagine how hard it is to get signal down there. But the plan was, yep, you'll have internet, everything will be fine. And then didn't. But I think what Ben and Blair have built with NorCal and the vendors that showed up, the people that showed up, the community that showed up, everything looked amazing. Just stay out of the actual season or fix everything that you fucked up this year.
No, but even then, stay out of the. I like I said, I like there is fine if there is now and then also the programming, and they do like these lunge wall balls, and they do a bit like more an exotic programming. I want to say that's totally fine with that. That's CrossFit. Like we should do everything, but should it be in a semifinal? No. Should it be in a game season? No. So, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
And honestly, I believe actually, if they would have done it out of the game season, I believe with that prize money for 30K, they would have had even more athletes or better athletes on board, maybe.
Oh, if they did it like, yeah. If they had more people free to go and do it. They did it last year. I think it was 30,000 for first place last year too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. And then I don't know, like there's like
And
the guys
30K is more than 8th place at the games.
Yeah. And it's more than that as well, because it was 30K for first, male and female. You know what I mean? So it's like they had 100,000 just for prize money.
Well, it was a huge drop. I think it was like 30, and then it was second place was like 5.
But still, 30 and 30 is 60. Do you know what I mean?
No, for sure. And like I said, imagine 30K is the same amount than winning the fitness league stuff.
Yeah. The only thing
is
like
you literally have a games field.
Lynn makes a good point that the winners were the best. So at least it didn't cost like Alex her ticket, or I mean the drive home did, but at least it didn't cost her ticket, or it didn't cost like Bill Leahy, who, you know, someone who performed really well and then was fucked over by the last event or something. Do you know what I mean?
Hey, yeah, I have a question about this, about Alex Kazan. I saw that she had the incident, and then I saw she put up a GoFund. And in the GoFund, it says that the guy who hit her didn't have an insurance, and now they have to pay. Or they sit on the costs. But normally, I don't know, in Europe, or at least in Switzerland, you have your own insurance for something like this. So let's say I get hit by a car, the guy has no insurance. I don't know exactly how this is it, but then I have an insurance who would cover my costs at least, even if the guy could not cover my costs. Yeah,
the same here. If someone crashed into me and they didn't have insurance, I think it's a lot more complicated. As in, it's like if someone crashes into you and doesn't have insurance, no, there is a problem with it. Because I know this happened to someone here, and we'd have a similar system. Like you've insurance, like motor insurance, and someone crashes into you, but they don't have insurance. It makes it really hard for you to get, because it's not your fault, so it's not covered in your insurance. Like your insurance is to cover you if you crash into someone else, or if you just damage your car. But if someone else crashes into you, then there's no insurance company to go after.
Okay,
like your insurance company won't pay you.
The other thing is, if I get injured and I go to hospital, this is definitely now a health insurance.
Yeah, but they don't have health insurance.
Someone would hit me with a car. Like, okay, I'm not 100% sure how it works about my car, but if I end up in hospital, I'm 100% sure my health insurance would, or like my health insurance would pay that. No.
Yeah, but they don't have health insurance.
You saying Alex Kazan has no health insurance?
I'm pretty sure she said that. I think that's in the GoFundMe. But I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. That if I crashed into you and I didn't have insurance, your insurance company would be like, well, we can't go after them because they have no insurance and we're not paying you, because that's not what your insurance is for. Your insurance is for if you crash into me, or if you crash into a wall, or if you like break your windscreen. I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Mowgli, stop.
And then they don't have, I'm pretty sure they either don't have health insurance, or it's not covering, or it's not, there's a certain threshold you have to hit before it kicks in. So sometimes people might have like, oh, I'll pay the first X amount. And I imagine if they're anything like me, when they're signing, before I had kids, when you're signing up for your health insurance, you're like, all right, cool. All right, well, it's only 50 quid a month if I say I'll pay the first 20 grand. I mean, nothing's ever going to happen to me. I'll just pick that one. I'll just tick that box. So I'd say something like that maybe. And then I think as well, Ireland is the same, but if you call a fire engine or an ambulance, you have to pay, like, it's a couple of grand just for the ambulance or the fire. And I think there was like fire, ambulance, everything was called. So that's probably like 5 grand straight away. Oh shit.
But
ambulance fees is probably 30,000 alone. No fucking way.
Because she has to pay it and not the guy.
How is he going to pay it?
I don't know. Well, he has no insurance, but he needs money. Oh shit! 1 second. I need actually a charger. Sorry. Otherwise, I'm gonna be gone. Oh.
I don't know. Someone explain. My ambulance ride. What was it? A fucking limo? My ambulance ride in 2012 was $150,000. How did they get that? Is there a meter? Or is it just when you're getting out, they're just like, that'll be 100K, by the way? That is nuts. Yeah, she'd have to sue them to get it paid for. So she has to pay for this. So she gets brought in the ambulance and she gets the leg
that makes sense.
operation or whatever. So the bill is given to her. So then she has the choice of paying it or like giving it to the other guy to pay, which he's probably going to be like, fuck off. So then she has to like pay it and then sue him or like, you know, try and get it back
that
that
much
way.
money, she will definitely sue him.
Yeah, I don't know. Kipping's saying that his wasn't even 1,000. Maybe you just got the short bus. No one pays that. Yeah, we got 100. Maybe I shouldn't say this. Ah, fuck it. We got €100 like $100 hospital bill for bringing our infant to the hospital, and I just ignored it. And then we got a letter from the debt collector saying that we owed $100, and I just ignored it and put it in the bin. So 8 months ago, nothing has happened.
Okay, but I still don't understand that you can be like, even that you're okay. I have no idea about the American health system. I just know that it's not great. But how can you be a professional athlete and not having health insurance?
Yeah, but I wonder, does she have like if something happens to her on this field of play or in the gym or in her training, she's probably covered to go to like a sports hospital. You know what I mean? Like if she fucking does her Achilles, but not if you're lying sideways in a truck and someone hits you and you break your leg off the steering wheel or whatever.
Because I think I'm pretty sure we even have we have even an insurance for something if I do something very stupid. So let's say if I drive a car without an insurance, or let's say I do something very stupid and someone get hurt or something get broken, like let's say I take a rock and I destroy a Lamborghini or something. I think I even have for that insurance in Switzerland, but I'm not sure what's the name of that.
Dumbass insurance must be.
Yes.
Lance, that must be ambulance, I'm guessing. Oh yeah, he fixed it afterwards. I just thought you were really cool, Jeremy. Ambulance rides in the US ranges from $500 to $3,500 without insurance. Even if you're insured, you have to fucking pay. What the fuck? $250 to $1,500 with insurance. That's crazy. That is crazy. Because we have, I think the way it works here, that if you're referred by a family doctor to hospital, everything after that point is free. So you pay for your referral you pay for your appointment with the doctor, and then if you're sent to A&E or the ER for an X-ray or something, you don't have to pay for it. But if you just show up at the hospital and say, "I think I broke my arm, I need an X-ray," you then have to pay for it. It's only free if you go to the GP or the general practitioner and get sent. I mean, it's not actually free. Like we're paying fucking taxes and shit. But it's like free. But yeah, I don't know. I think my dad broke his back and we had to call an ambulance and he had to pay for the ambulance. Like, but it was his insurance, his farm insurance paid. But I don't think that was like a 40-minute ride. I don't think it was over like 500 quid. I don't know how they're landing at $3,500.
Yeah,
I guess
I was just
you pay the wage,
but
the paramedic's wage. The like the rental of the ambulance or whatever equipment is used on the ambulance probably does add up, but that's pretty crazy. My daughter was in Crumlin for 9 weeks when she was born, all free apart from the parking. Yeah, the parking's a fucking nightmare there. Yeah, we had the same. Our baby was in hospital for like 3 weeks and it was all free. Well, like free. It's not actually free. Like we pay pretty high tax, but all right. The issue then, I have some other concerns, right? So Torian, part of me thinks that Torian shouldn't be in the fucking qualifying either. Like
Torian should be the games. Point.
It's too polished. It's too like, it's too perfect. It's too pristine. It's too polished. And then it's the fact that they like, I don't think any event should be able to invite people unless they finish in the top 1% of the Open.
Okay, I have two things to say quick. One thing I have to say is I was thinking about that today. That's why Tia and Matt are just, well, even Rich you can put in there. But why they're just so why you should not even be close, compare Laura with Tia, because it just blows my mind, especially as an athlete, how Tia every time shows up. The same as Matt. Every time they show up, they're just in an amazing shape and they win. And that, like even like I can see probably Tia was not that motivated for Torian to train, because she was probably more excited for that high rock stuff she does now, what is totally fine. But she still shows up and just blows everyone away, and not like in a close fashion. Like, for example, what blew my mind was like, okay, she probably hasn't touched the ball very much, and then she comes and she just demolish the clean event. And that's just something where, like I said, I think it's not even fair for everyone who ever took like Laura and Tia in the same sentence. It's just, yeah, this should not be right. It's just, just shows me like why they can have a GOAT status, in my opinion, because they just show up and just doesn't matter what or how, they just are in a crazy shape. That's one thing.
It's even going to be more evident now, because she's going to probably win the World Championships of High Rocks.
But she does it in a double, right? So I don't really, it's the same as teams at the games. Yeah, I don't really care about that.
It's still a different, like, she has a completely different focus, is my point. Like, she's gone off. I actually think she might be individual as well. No, maybe she's not. Anyway,
no, she does this team.
Regardless, she's going doing that, and then she's going to like, so she probably finished Torian and then didn't do any CrossFit, just did like running, trying to get back to like peak running shape. And she'll do high rocks, and then she'll just like stop doing that and then just go CrossFit. And she's probably still going to win the games. Whereas you have people who've qualified week 1 who've been just like in the trenches of games training for weeks and weeks. And she's going to start way behind them and just breeze past them. And like, it's crazy how it's crazy.
Yeah, it is just, I like I said, I would love to see her actually do it. If you imagine she would win individual high rocks and then she would go to the games and win the games. Yeah. That would be the coolest fucking thing ever. Like I said, team for me, it's a bit like team for the games. It's like, whatever. But no, that was just when I was watching Tori, and that was super impressive. And
you said those two things.
What was the other thing I want to say? What were we talking about?
I said that you shouldn't be allowed to invite people that aren't.
Invite, exactly. That's what I think as well. I always, even when I started my first, when I had signed up my 216, or even when I got into CrossFit, the fact I loved about CrossFit was that everyone was even. Like, you could see very well, like Samantha Briggs won 2013 the games. 2014 she fucked up the handstand walk event at semis. She could not go to the games. There was no invite for something else or whatever. And I always loved that you have your chance, but everyone has to go through the same status. It doesn't matter if you're a 6-time champion, Tia Claire Toomey or Matt Fraser or Froning. You every year started with the Open, then every year it changed, but everyone had to go through the same workouts and through the same status. No invites, no gold cards, no you are my best friend, nothing of that. And I really enjoyed that. And I totally agree. I don't think anyone should get an invite for any of the semifinals.
Yeah, I'm okay with like the way Syndicate did it. Well, hang on.
Point.
The way Syndicate did it, but they all did the same. As in, Syndicate looked at the top, whatever it was, 30 guys from the eastern region of the Open, and they just invited them. And then if anyone declined, they just went to the next person on the list. So I'm happy with that. Like, when there's an actual system, like a filtration system or a funnel system in place, but where you just look at the top 1% of the Open and just throw a dartboard at the names and say, yeah, you can come. And it's like, well, hang on, why is he going above the 3 people that are ahead of him? Like, would you not pick those 3 first? Is it just because this guy has 400,000 followers? Is that why you're inviting him? Or, like the Guy be invited to Tori and just pissed me off a bit, because I'm like, he can't even fucking qualify. He's going to impact all the workouts.
He got my spot. That was my spot I was supposed to get.
But he did. Well, you would have been happy with an invite then, wouldn't you? He did.
I would have loved to go, but
he did well. Like, he performed better than I thought he would. But it's just kind of like, why? Like, why is he getting an invite to that? Just because he has a heap of followers and he's a Frog Grips athlete? It's like, yeah, cool, but like, there's someone else who. Same with like the past champions. Like, I was happy that Swanee got to have his fucking victory lap and CJ Walker and all the rest, but it's kind of like,
CJ doesn't
You're
even
done.
show up. He didn't
But
compete.
it's like, you're done. You know, like, why are you getting an invite? You're done. Like, you finished. So bye. Like, it's the next people's turn to show up. It's the next people's turn to.
Well, okay, you have to say, Swanee, I really respected him. He did really good.
Especially
Like,
working
he
out for
was,
whatever 40 minutes a day.
yeah, and yeah, he finished middle of a pack, but even on day 1 or 2, he was like in the top 15 or top somewhere there. So
Yeah.
honestly, I was very
He
like
might have
he
actually
has
been in the top 1% of the Open. I actually don't know. I need to check.
yeah.
He actually probably was. Definitely in his region, I'd say.
Yeah, again, like I can see that also that an event organizer needs to see. I talked to Mikey and one of the event organizers from Torian. He said actually that he didn't got the teams this year for qualifying to the games. They got some ticket issue, like they sold less tickets because of that, because that was a huge thing every year in Australia, same as Europe, where like if there was a gym sending a team to Torian, mostly like half of the gym showed up, right? So not having that, they custom tickets, and I can see that they also got some pressure, or they wanted just to do something to bring on, and I understand that because it was open. And I honestly, if you invite, that's one thing, but like you said, in general, I'm not for invites at all, especially not in a semi-final. But
even like, think of that there was a qualifier for Torian. Like, people had to do a qualifier. Like, Luke de Jong and Zane, they had to do a qualifier to get in. And then you have someone who comes like one spot out of the qualifier, and they're like, oh, shit. And then fucking Guy gets an invite. You're just like, what? Like, he didn't even finish top 1%. Like, that must be so fucking frustrating for, like, you're robbing someone of their time.
yeah,
Why not hold 1 or 2 spots to just let CrossFit choose a couple of popular athletes who may not have qualified, or reward some lifetime achievements? Like, for example, Ali Scuds, because that's the fucking gayest idea I've ever heard in my life. Like, that's not what we're about. That you just turn around and say, oh, hey, you're a pretty popular guy and you missed out. Here's an invite. Or, hey, you were on demo team a few times and you've missed out. Here's an invite. That's not how it works. Like, just doesn't work like that.
No, I totally agree. And like I said, I think if CrossFit would have come out and said, hey, look, none of the semifinal events are allowed to invite anyone. They have to do a qualifier and you have to qualify through that. Then you have rules, But again, I think it's not to blame each event. I think it's to blame CrossFit not making rules for the semifinals. Very simple.
Yeah.
As an event organizer, like I can totally see that Torian was like, okay, we have one wild card left. Mundwiler said no, because he's a pussy. Let's try to get someone on board who might sell a bit more tickets or bring up a show. And then
I do. I get it.
I totally understand.
But again,
don't blame
that should be for down under
Torian.
championships.
Don't blame Torian. I think blame CrossFit not putting out proper rules.
But then, like, you end up with this whole. Then it's like fucking Dave's fault that Nate Ackerman didn't put the right plates on the bar because he picked NorCal as a qualifier event and then they didn't manage it properly. Like, if you just keep going up the chain, like, it can't be CrossFit's fault that Torian were told, hey, you can do whatever you want, and said, all right, fuck it, let's invite Guy. Like, you can't, like, the blame does have to lie with Torian on that one, I think, because it's like, they chose to do it. Like, I'm sure they're happy with their decision.
Yeah, but there is,
probably did
like I said, at some point,
it's
money as well. It's like, okay, we can invite the guy who placed one spot out of the semifinals, who probably no one knows, one of the qualifiers, or we invite Guy, and he probably brings up a show at least in one of the events. And
he'll do a little TikTok dance with the dancers on the floor.
Yeah, maybe they brought him for that, and he might
fucking tell you that's why they bought him. There'll be a clean or a snatch or whatever, some kind of
there was
Instagrammable moment.
Yeah.
He'll definitely do that fucking dance. There's tick. All right, he's a heap of followers. Tick. He's a progress athlete. Tick.
Yeah,
done.
And look, people love that fucking dancing shit. So it is, like I said, I can see it from a way of as well, somewhere in a business perspective. Like, if you give me endless money and you say, okay, money doesn't matter. Okay, yes, I'm going to make you the best, fairest, and I would probably invite the guy out from the qualifiers. But if you ask me, hey, we haven't sold as many tickets as we should, so let's try to get someone on board so we might can sell a few more tickets or get more like views on. I honestly understand that from a business point. Is it right or wrong? Again, like said, this is what I mean. Like, you need rules. I don't think you have to rule everything down, but okay, make rules that you're not allowed to invite. You need to have qualifier, and it's, in my opinion, a very simple rule.
Yeah, and like Augustus is kind of echoing what you're saying. If having Gita sells next to 500 tickets or next to 2,000 views, it's worth it for them. It is worth it for them. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying that I again think for a games qualifier event, no. Like, but I understand that they were put in a tricky position of like, shit, we're not selling tickets because we were missing, 20 teams of 4 and maybe one person for each of those 4 people buying a ticket to come and watch their teams, and we don't have that anymore. But it's like, I don't know, maybe you should have just put the prize money into the teams then and had a team competition, and the prize for the individuals is to go to the games.
And there's another thing. I actually I had to smile because I remember in one of your debate shows you had the question once, what's the most important thing for a competition, or something like this was the question, right? Is it the broadcast, is it the athletes, or is it the the competition, the broadcast, or the athletes? And after watching this semifinals or some of it, I need to say it is, for me personally, by far the athletes.
Is the most important.
It's the most important. If you have good athletes, I will watch. Honestly, I haven't fucking cared about the NorCal because I looked at the leaderboard. I was like, who the fuck are these guys? I haven't watched. I watched the Africa one because I just wanted to see if Sarah could qualify. That was the only thing I was like interested to see in there.
So you're going to be World Fitness Project's biggest fan then?
Well, yeah, I want to watch. Well, not the biggest fan, no, but at least I'm not saying you like. Yes, you need good athletes. Like honestly, if there would not be good athletes at the, I watched the World Fitness. I can't fucking get his name down.
World Fitness Project.
World Fitness Project. I watched it and I loved it in a way of like the level of athletes.
Yeah.
Like, and this is what I always said. Yes, they did a great job and it looked good. And my point was always like, I would have done something totally different. But it is fun to watch the best racing. It was impressive watching Adler and Hatfield and see the level of them. Like, no point. But honestly, I'm not watching, like I said, the NorCal like last week. And then I look at the leaderboard and the best 2 names is like Jorge, or who fucking places like 30th in every other competition where actually good people are in, and now he's like a favorite to win the event. The Ben Hiller's friend, who hasn't done anything in the sport, I don't know how he got an Adidas sponsorship anyway, because the only thing he did was like rupturing his Achilles, and now he won this event. And yeah, like this is again, it just doesn't interest me. Very like, it's in my personal opinion. And what I want to say is what we also had in the last debate. You said I liked the different events with the different broadcast. Like I think that made a lot of sense. That okay, you have like let's say the Torian was more like a broadcast of like a proper like
regionals.
No, like just a general sports broadcast. So they were literally talking what was going on. I loved at Syndicate that you had someone like John Young who was telling you, because normally I always have to calculate by myself, who was telling you on the final event, hey, this is 8 spots out. If this guy and this girl is between them, and then he sees them live going, oh, okay, this girl is over the line. It's like, oh, one more spot. And if there's one more people in between, she misses her game spot.
Yeah.
That he had his informations ready for you was really cool. Because normally I have always to look at the leaderboard and then calculate by myself and watching the live stream and like, oh yeah, okay, no, I'm not sure. So again, every broadcast had something different and special, and I like that.
I think there's a place for everything for it.
Yeah, but for me, the most important thing is still the athletes. Otherwise, I don't like I said, they could be the greatest like I said, okay, apparently they did great at NorCal this weekend with the broadcast. I didn't watch, not because I didn't like the broadcast, or it was amazing broadcast, just because I don't know, or like the field was just not interesting in me.
Are you guys going to get a divorce? Listen, people can disagree with each other. It doesn't mean they hate each other. I think that's something that's been greatly misunderstood.
That's what makes a proper friendship.
I think that's what people misunderstand, especially in CrossFit. That if someone says something and someone else disagrees with them, they're immediately at war with each other. They hate each other. They're on two opposite sides, and they're going to argue forever.
That's why me and Jonne have such a special friendship, because we mostly argue and we're mostly different opinions, and we can both argue for, like, we both can argue our points, and we both respect our points. And I think that's why it's always very great. And I really enjoy having. Yeah, we had long talks, long argues about things. Yeah.
Fuck Yanni, I'm your best friend. All right, Bonnie, did Hannah Black do the Torian qualifier? She did. I don't know why she went, but she did it. I'm sure it was a great experience. Let's see. Jorge was way better this. Like, I mean, he did Mayhem. If he was way better, he would have qualified at Mayhem.
Did he not do the fitness league stuff? No, he plays like
he did the Challenger event because he didn't qualify for the Pro.
Oh, what else do you need to know?
Grant doesn't understand the sport. Just leave him alone. He tries his best.
Oh Lord.
I would like to welcome Adrian to the Billy Hater Club.
No, not hater, but fucking.
And from now on, Bill is Ben. Yeah, that was great, Ben. He absolutely was way better this year than last year. Look at Apollo.
But he would have never qualified in a semifinal if everyone would have showed up.
The reason he qualified, and I'm sure he'd say this himself, is because the in-affiliate semifinal wiped out half the field and took all the big hitters out of the way. So if those same people had turned up at the in-person events, like, he's not finishing second if fucking Hopper is there, or, you know, whatever, whoever. I think he's a nice guy, like, great, whatever, but I don't think it's fair to say, oh, he's way better than he was last. Like, he would have won fucking Mayhem then, or come in the top 3 in Mayhem. He would have qualified for the Pro division for the World Fitness Project and come in the top 5 if he's way better than last year. But yeah, you can make that argument. I'm not saying it's the wrong argument. It's like it's a different argument for different regions. I'm saying, yeah, like, it's the same for fucking everyone. Like, I don't know, does Lexi Nealing go if all of the top 11 women that qualify, you know what I mean? Like, if it's the same field, like, there's some people that were at Syndicate that didn't even qualify for Syndicate because the initial leaderboard was different. And then when those 11 names got wiped out.
This is the sad thing now about the sport, or about the season, because in the past, we always knew in the season was the best or the most interesting because everyone showed up, and everyone showed up at 100%.
Yeah.
So you knew, okay, who's good, who's not good. There was no question about Europe. Is like let's take last year, or the year before, who will qualify out of Europe, because everyone good in Europe was at semifinals and had the one chance. So there was no question, oh, would I have qualified if this guy would not have been here?
Or if I was at the other event or whatever. Yeah.
Yes. And this is just something I really think it's very sad, and I really miss, because this is where I always enjoyed. It's like, okay, we have, let's say, Europe semifinals. The best Europeans show up and the best will qualify. Very simple. And not like, okay, tactics or who's going there and who's going not there. And like I said, Jorge would probably have never qualified if that would have still be the old system and all the top guys from America would have showed up. He would have probably been far away, right? So, yeah.
Does the games become more interesting if Tia doesn't compete? No. Some people will say, yeah. Like, if I went on Reddit.
I really hope it's just amazing. Like I said, it was the same at Tori, and it was just so spectacular to see how good she was and how she smashed.
It's like, it'd be like if you had fucking Jordan or Ronaldo or Messi or whoever, like the absolute pinnacle, and you're just like, this might be better if they weren't playing. It's like, it just doesn't make sense. The argument is just lost on me. I think people are just kind of, that's probably the only time I've actually agreed with people using the term hater, where people are just haters, that they're just like, no, I just don't like Tia. It's like, yeah, okay, cool. But like, you can't deny that she's the best to fucking ever do the sport. Like, she's just so dominant. It's fucking insane. And you're witnessing pure domination and you're bored of it. And like, there was a thing on Reddit, and it was like, oh, can someone explain Tia qualified? Is she actually going to go or not go? Like, I can't figure it out. And the amount of comments of people saying, like, who cares? Obviously, the person asking the fucking question cares. And lots of people who follow the sport care. It's like, you don't care. Cool. Or like, maybe you're pissed off that she's kind of dangled it like a fucking carrot on YouTube for a few clickbait videos. Cool. Who cares? Like, that's separate from the sport too, in my opinion. I think, like, you look at if you're Tia and you do Torian and you win Torian, I think if she had just scraped in, it might be a bit different. But because she won Torian and won it so well, and then she shows up at the games, and say next week she's told, like, Castro called and said, "Hey, it's D-Day. You got to decide, are you coming or not coming?" All she has to do is just, like, take a cursory glance at the leaderboard of qualifiers and be like, "I will curb stomp every one of those bitches," and be like, "Yes, Dave, I'm in." Like,
well, honestly,
the
like I
leaderboard
said,
is just nobody behind her.
I don't see the point. Let's say, as an athlete wise, looking at the leaderboard, seeing, okay, I can make probably with sponsorship, prize money, and all the stuff. She probably makes around $500,000, maybe 300,000-400,000 at least, for like a weekend. And I can be, how many she has now? 6 or 7? She has now 6 times, so she would be 7 times games champion.
Yeah.
Why would you not fucking do that? Like, why?
I imagine initially there was a thought of, like, fuck, I don't think I'll be ready. And then maybe a fear of, like, well, I can't ruin my legacy by showing up half-baked and not doing well.
And I think that,
and then I imagine she went to Tori and was like, all right, I'm fucking ready. Like, when is D-Day? I don't actually know. I'm imagining, like, maybe a couple of weeks after, like this week, I'd say maybe 2 weeks' time or something. She'd probably have as much time. Probably an extra week on the last chance qualifiers, I think. I think there was always a deadline, but it was sort of never needed because everyone was just like, yeah, cool, I'm in, like, straight away.
Yeah.
This is the first year where there's been any kind of, like, question.
But again, this is what you said before, is like, you could hate Barcelona, but it was amazing to watch Messi play. You could hate the Bulls, but it was amazing to see Jordan playing, right? And that's the same as Tia. It's like, yes, okay, it's not about maybe the battle who win then, but it's just amazing. It's so amazing to watch her destroying a workout, in my opinion. It's just like, holy shit, this is where the top is. And I think that's so cool to watch.
And people are saying,
and people can still battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place, right?
Yeah. Well, like, there will still be interesting. Like, if she goes, it's going to be incredible to watch. It's going to be, the whole storyline is going to be like, can she do it again? Like, obviously, yes. Like, all that stuff. But then there is a race between, like, you're looking at people like, say, Lucy Campbell coming off the back of winning Wadapalooza and her injury and all that. Like, there is other storylines there that are at play too. So it's not like, if you don't like Tia, there's still plenty of other shit to keep you occupied and to watch, while still being like, wow, that's actually crazy impressive that she's still that good and that she's that much better than everyone else. And then there'll also be the thing of, like, oh shit, like, fucking Hattie Canyo won a workout, like, won an event. Whoa, Tia didn't go like 12 for 12. Yeah. That's fucking nuts.
But honestly, that's the same as, like, I remember when Mad retired, and I remember thinking, the first thought was like, okay, finally. But on the other hand was like, damn, but it was always so cool to see what is possible, even as an athlete.
There'll be like an afterglow as well of when Tia retires, when she does retire. So I imagine she'll do the games, and then I imagine she'll do Rogue, and then that'll be like, adios, like, I'm out. And she, because SoCal is before Rogue. So she'll do the games, SoCal, Rogue, and then she'll just walk. And maybe do an individual High Rocks next year or something. But there will be a lag effect for a while, where when the next, like when Gabby Magala wins the games next year, people will be like, what would Tia have gotten in that? For the next few years, people are going to be like, would Tia have, like, would High Rocks Tia still have won that first couple of events? You know what I mean? It's just going to be it's going to be crazy. The only thing would stop it if she got popped, which I don't actually see happening. Yeah, sorry, Tier SoCal. I'm sorry. I want a road to the games for the new people. There is a road to the games for the new people coming. There's been Abby Domit, Fee Sagafi, Jason Hopper, Dallin Pepper, Colton Mertens, Austin Hatfield, and now I think there's a bit of a European feel to the next couple of episodes, I think, if rumors are to be believed. And I also saw the guy Ian that does them with Jay Crouch. He's in Australia, so I assume he's doing that because he was with him today. That was on Jay's story. So a bit out of others. Okay, you're obviously watching. You obviously clicked on. You're at the start of the show. We've moved on. I'm sorry, American. If you don't have health insurance, you should have joined the military or something. Don't ask people who are already struggling to pay for your lack of preparation for life. Yeah, I mean, there's also the thing to consider is that Alex Cassandra's won $30,000, and then she starts to GoFundMe like the next day after being in an accident. It's like,
well, that was my
put
first
the 30,000
thought.
in first.
That was my first thought. But
like you're asking for
I said,
100,000. You should be asking for 70,000 because you got 30 in the bank.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm being harsh. All right.
Also, like I said, because I saw the 100,000, I was like, wow, this is a lot. Like I said, but I'm not qualified to talk about costs. I have no idea. But even like, let's say 100K is like, okay, you buy a new car for like 30, 40K. And then I was like, what you do is other 60.
Actually,
Yeah.
She won World Fitness Project as well, so she has 60,000. So she only needs 40.
Well, maybe she should have done with this money to put a health insurance in there, so she would not have any costs.
Maybe, or she should have sat forwards. But yeah, it's really shit. Like it is shit luck, and it's like I feel maybe Cotter's cursed. Like Daniel Brandon leaves at semi-finals. Daniel Brandon and Bethany Flores look like and Carrie Pierce look like any one of them could win the games, and then they all fucking drop with COVID and everything the day of the games, and Daniel has to do all the workouts on her own in her own lane. And then he gets Alex, and then the whole THC thing a couple of weeks ago, and then she qualifies at NorCal, and then she fucking breaks her leg on the drive home. Like, it's just, you can't ride it. I feel bad for her. Like, it's fucking terrible. But anyway.
But nothing.
What?
I feel like he loses a lot of, like I said, he used to be very consistent with his athletes, like Carrie Pierce and stuff. But I feel now in the last 2 years, he has a lot of people come and go directly again. What is a bit surprising.
Yeah, I guess you can't. The Ricky one is hard because he kind of took a chance on him, brought him back in, and then Ricky was like, I think I'll go to Shane. You know, like it made sense for Ricky, so I kind of get it. But yeah. All right. Thanks, Adrian. I don't know when we'll do a show next now. We'll find an excuse.
Sounds like holidays.
Yeah, you can go to Bali. We'll find a reason, don't worry. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks, Adrian. So yeah, in conclusion, NorCal Classic is going to be the new CrossFit Games.